Hello there, Fabiola, friends, family, and fans. My name is Caleb McConner or Fulvius, and today I am with,
I'm Megan Mullaney.
yep, and who are you playing in this upcoming project, Megan?
I'll be playing Sira, which is one of Fabiola's handmaidens.
What got you into acting? And is there any people that inspired you?
Yeah, so my trip with acting te definitely took me by surprise. Growing up, I was a very, very timid child. Like I would hide in my room when extended family came over. So very
Right.
shy.
Okay.
And one of my friends asked me to do a theater camp with her when I was in fourth grade because she just wanted to know somebody. And my plan was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up, not talk to anybody, do behind the scenes.
Mhm.
But part of the program required everyone to audition, even if you didn't want to be in the cast. And
Sure.
the play we did was about this prince who gets kidnapped, and then the like three bandits get out of jail and like save the prince as like their opportunity to like get a new start, essentially. And
Sure.
I was so nervous during the audition that I did this scene where the prince is kidnapped and has to like scream and like shout for help and everything. And so I took all my nervous energy and I just put it into that. And then I got the lead. I was a prince for my first
Wow.
role. And
Jeez. Okay.
I was like, I can't do this. But I actually found, I mean, you were in theater, like there's something about actors where it's like you feel so comfortable with each other, I think.
Yes, it's a family. It's a
It's
family.
a family and nobody like everybody looks a little weird, doing vocal warm-ups or getting into character.
Right.
It's like it's part of the process. Like there's no judgment. And so it just became this thing that I learned I really loved. And I loved that feeling of bowing and not being afraid of like
Sure.
being seen and being in front of people. And then from there it was like, well, this brings me so much joy and I can do it for life. So acting is the
Right.
career. I'm ready to go. Uh
Yeah,
and
you're like, wait, I can actually kind of get paid for doing this. This is cool.
yeah.
This is fun. I'll do this. What was your process like auditioning for Fabiola? And also, how did you how did you hear about the project? How did it get in front of you?
So I was reached out by one of the producers and slash actors on the project who I'd worked with on a project called Relics, where I played a very stuck up Catholic girl who um, goes on her own journey over the course of the story. And he reached out to me saying, "Oh, Fabiola is a very similar character. I think you should audition." So I originally auditioned for Fabiola.
Hmm.
And how I did that was I read the script. I read the script once all the way through, then I read it again looking at her arc. And how I went through that was I figured out my prep, so to speak, for that audition was I wanted to figure out what she wanted. I wanted to figure out why she was hesitant with the Christian faith, um, and just making her alive and active, and looking at her relationships with the other characters. So really understanding the script and her. And so I
Hmm.
auditioned. I felt like it went very well, and then I was called back for Sira. And
Hmm.
so then I looked at the scenes with Sira again and um, dabbled into what I felt she was like. And she's much more gentle than Fabiola. She's much more, I think, sensitive and attuned than Fabiola. Um, and then figuring out kind of her character, why she does what she does, how she feels about Fabiola, and like her inner life.
Hmm.
And then the morning of the audition, I got my setup. I did my vocal exercises, did, my own kind of prep to just be in a creative state and
Right.
the audition and got the role of Sira.
And I bet you did absolutely amazing because as I go through the script itself, and also, by the way, I think I've already said this, but we read together, and you were auditioning for Fabiola.
Mhm.
Now, and I was auditioning for Fulvius and Sebastian. Now, if I remember correctly, you said that you read for Fabiola. Did they ask you to come back as a different character, or did you read that same day for Sarah and Fabiola? Did they see
I
you pertaining to mostly Syrah?
I think so. I believe I
Hmm.
read for Sira, but I didn't originally plan on it. So I
Hmm.
I signed up to audition for only Fabiola. And during the audition process, they had me read for her, I think once. Um,
Mhm.
and then the follow up, they said, "Hey, we actually want you to do a full read for just Sierra." And
Okay.
then during the call, I did Sierra, and they really liked what I brought to that role. So
Great. And I thought you absolutely killed the Fabiola audition. I was very
thank
surprised
you.
when you were not Fabiola when the casting came out. Is there something that you would have changed about your prep of becoming Fabiola, looking back on that?
My version of Fabiola was mine, and I stand by it still. And I would say I wouldn't
Mhm.
change anything. Um,
Okay.
Now, having the role of Sierra, I'd say I wouldn't change anything about the way that I do Sierra because I was the one
Right.
that they wanted for that role. So there must be something about my mannerisms, my opinions, my prep that is exactly what they're looking for. So
Right.
I'm very excited to share the screen with Emily.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be so fun. She's just in the little brief interactions I've had with her over like virtually, she's quite sweet. So I think it'll be fun.
When I got the sides, and you prep the sides and then you audition. Little fun fact about myself as well is I auditioned for Sebastian and Fulvius, and then at the end of the interview, the Mary and Faustina were like, "Hey, everyone else leave, Caleb stay." And I felt like that kid after school who was like bad, stay
Mhm.
after school, stay in my class after school. So I was like, "Oh, what I do?" And they
Uh-huh.
were like, "Well, we would like to also read for Emperor Maximinian." Um, and that one threw me off because I was like, well, the Emperor, aren't you going to have like an older individual play that? And they're like, well, we're still indecisive if we want it to be a young king because that's obviously happened plenty of times in history,
Mhm.
or if we want it to be an older individual. But I read for them, and then I didn't get a call for a little bit, and then they said we would like you to play Fulvius, and I was obviously okay with that. I again loved the arc of Fulvius, and after that, I actually watched the Fulvius movies. There's been a couple adaptations of them, and I watched them. One I couldn't watch in English. It was supposedly dubbed in English, but I couldn't
Mm.
find the dub version, so I just watched the whole thing in French, and I
Nice.
didn't understand a single word of what was being said. But now stepping into the role of Fulvius, I looked at the mannerisms of the character playing Fulvius, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to copy that, 100%. And this was after I got the role, but I was like, I want to kind of change it up a little bit. I want to have a different version of Fulvius that hasn't been seen because I was like, well, if Fulvius or Fabiola's already been made in Italian and French, and now we're making it in English, what can I do that maybe English people could relate with more, or how can I bring some sort of gravitas to a character? You know what I mean? Just change it
Yeah,
a little bit. So yeah, just talking about prep work, like you and I, seems like we have a lot of the similar things in common when it comes to prep work. Just finding what we can in the moment and
hmm
then building on it as we go on.
for sure.
Um, but that's all the questions that I have, Megan.
Awesome.
So it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
I can't wait to work with you, get to know you more. I hope
Yes.
we're on set on some similar days.
Oh,
Um,
we will be.
yeah, yeah. Well, spoilers.
Yes, we'll be on set together. Yes,
I really can't wait though to work with you, Caleb, and not only on this project, but hopefully on future projects as well. So thank you for taking the
of
time
course.
to get to know me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And for everyone watching, you can go check Megan out on her Instagram at Megan Mullaney, right? Megan dot Mullaney. What is
Mullaney.Megan.
your Instagram?
It's switched.
Mullaney dot Megan.
Mullaney.Megan.
Sorry, my bad. You can also check me out on Caleb McConner Official on Instagram. But also, ladies and gentlemen, um, if you can go to Industrious Family and you can look at our crowdfunding, we are trying to raise money for the project. Obviously, also looking for investors of that nature. Obviously, we aren't a massive production. We don't have a massive production behind us. So all of our money and proceeds come from individuals with a heavy heart that want to help the project, and also investors who are looking to step into the film content world. And we're just really excited that everyone's here watching, and we are. I mean, I can't wait, like you were saying. So, without further ado, I will end it.